morning, my name's Helen and I'd like to share with you Psalm 121 today. While I was thinking about what I should talk about, this first line of the psalm came into my head, and it's also a chorus that I used to sing. So I'm going to sing it. So I'm not going to sing it to you, I'm going to read it to you. Psalm 121. I lift my eyes up to the mountains. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. He will not let your foot slip. He who watches over you will not slumber. Indeed, he who watches over Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord watches over you. The Lord is your shade at your right hand. The sun will not harm you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord will keep you from all harm. He watches over your life. The Lord will watch over your coming and going, both now and forevermore. So just a few thoughts from those words. So I can look up out of my room now and see some hills. I can't see mountains, but I can see the hills. And in one of the commentaries I read, they were saying maybe David was looking up to the mountains because he's had to hide so many times in the mountains when he was trying to hide from King Saul. This psalm is one of the psalms that is one of the songs of ascent, so people would sing this as they were going up to Jerusalem and remind them of who God was and how he would look after them. I just like the first line because it says, I lift my eyes to the mountains, where does my help come from? So it's taking the move to lift your eyes up. We keep being encouraged to look to Jesus, and in here it encourages us to lift our eyes up, to look up. And where does our help come from? We've got a God who is the maker of heaven and earth, and yet we can cry out to him. He will be our help. We can cry out to him. So sometimes we don't always lift our eyes up to him. Sometimes we just are looking down. Sometimes we do need to stop and look up, lift our eyes, change our perspective and look to God. And sometimes we don't always go to him either for help. We look in other places for help. But we've got a God who is the maker of heaven and earth, but he wants to be our help. There's so many other things in these short verses. It says that he who watches over us will neither slumber or sleep. We've got a God that never takes a rest, never takes a nap. He is always watching out for us. He is always awake. He is always fully awake. He is fully aware of all that we're going through. He watches us. He watches over us, and he is there for us. So I'm just remind myself as well, sometimes we don't always go to him first for help, and sometimes we might wonder if he really knows what we're going through, but in these words we've got a God that watches over us. He is fully aware of everything that we're going through. In fact, looking through these 8 verses, 4 times it says he will watch over you. He will watch over your life. He watches over you. He who watches over you will not slumber and sleep. It's a recurring theme in these few verses that he will watch over us and he will watch over our lives. So I just want to encourage us today just to remind us where we need to look. Sometimes if we're not looking to God, we need to change our perspective and look up to him and know that we have a God that wants to help us, that is aware of everything that we're going through. So I'd just like to finish with a short prayer that I've written. Lord, please remind us to look up, to lift our eyes to you. We thank you that you watch over us, that we have a God who never slumbers or sleeps. We thank you that we know the maker of heaven and earth, and that you help us. Help us to look to you and to no one else for the help that we need. Amen. So I just Pray that you have a good day and encourage you to look up, and myself to look up today. Bye.